Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Winning Wednesdays. I'm your host, Errol C. Mangle. And on Winning Wednesdays, we discuss current events affecting financial markets. I've got several things in my notes I wanted to discuss today. But before we get into that, we'll give it a minute. We welcome everyone on StreamYard. We welcome everyone on YouTube, and we welcome everyone on X. Welcome everyone to Winning Wednesdays. I believe today we are live on the Black Boss channel. So welcome to everyone on YouTube joining from the Black Boss channel. We go live Wednesdays at noon Eastern. I'm looking at the market right now. Mixed across the market. I see some red. I see some green. I see Bitcoin at 113,400. I see major indexes just slightly down. I see Ethereum currently at 4,100. I see some of the mega caps slightly down. We're going to get into it shortly. We're going to get into everything shortly. But welcome everyone to Winning Wednesdays. Who we got? We got El Haj. Peace, El Haj. We have James. Peace, James. Welcome everyone. Let's take a look at current market. Before we get into the current events, let's take a live look at the market. So this is what I was just looking at a minute ago. S&P slightly down, NASDAQ slightly down. Apple is an interesting. Let's take a look at Apple right quick. Interesting company here. Apple currently at 251. Now, if you look back at Wednesday, September 10th, Apple was at 226. Currently at 251. If you go back a little bit further, at the beginning of August, Apple was hovering around 200, just over 200. Apple is currently 251. Okay, so that's what's going on with Apple. What else do we have here? AMD is another interesting one. AMD currently at 160. Back on Wednesday, August 13th, AMD was at 186, 185, 186. AMD is currently at 160. Amazon's another interesting one, currently at 219. When was this? Earlier this month, Tuesday, September 9th, Amazon was at 238. Amazon's currently at 219. Another interesting one there. What else we have? BTC currently at 113. For all you Bitcoin holders, let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently at 113,414. Back on Thursday, September 18th, last week, Bitcoin was at 117,810, thereabouts. Bitcoin is currently 113,415. All right, another interesting one is Coinbase. Back in July, over 400, currently at 322. Ethereum, another interesting one, currently at 4165. Back earlier this month, 2 weeks ago, 11 days ago, roughly, at 4,700. Okay. If you liked Ethereum at 4,700, you should really like it at 4,100. All right. So that's a couple of tickers I follow. That's what's going on with those tickers that I follow. All right. 12:04 p.m. Eastern. We welcome everyone across the different platforms. Peace, Jen. Welcome, Jen. All right, let's get right into the articles. I got a lot to discuss today. I wanted to first share some YouTube shorts. Let's get into some YouTube shorts right quick. Yesterday, you might have seen Powell speak. I've got a couple of shorts on Powell. Let's see what Powell is saying. Let's see here. I wanted to start with this one right here on the right, the fourth from the right. Powell says it's tough for people to get a job. Let's see what he said.
We all see the data that it's just gotten tough for people just entering the labor force to be hired. But remember, the overall national aggregate hiring rate is at very, very low level. The layoff rate is also at a very, very low. You're in a low fire, low hire economy. And it feels like companies are just, they've kind of stopped hiring or slowed down their hiring because they want to see how this all shakes out. We're having very important changes to economic policy in the United States, and companies and people are wondering, how's that going to work? We all see the data that it's just gotten tough for people just entering the labor force to be hired. But remember, the overall national aggregate hiring rate is at very, very low level. The layoff rate is also at a very, very low. You're in a low fire, low hire economy. And it feels like companies are just, they've kind of stopped hiring or slowed down their hiring because they want to see how this all shakes out. We're having very important changes to economic policy in the United States, and companies and people are wondering, how's that going to work? We all see the data that it's.
All right. Let's go back. All right. Powell says low hire, low fire. Okay. So they're not hiring you, they're not firing you. How do you guys feel about that? Low hire, low fire. Okay. We already know it was low hire. Okay. They weren't hiring you anyways. HR don't like you like that. Mr. Charlie don't like you like that. It's all good. You like that. What do you think about low hiring? What do you think about low hiring? Do you think that's going to change? Do you think that's going to stay the same? What's your feelings about low hiring, low firing? For me personally, I've got the same approach. Okay, I've got the same approach. I've got the same psychology. I've got the same execution, regardless of what Powell's saying, regardless of what this man is saying, regardless of what that man is saying. My execution is the same. Okay, sharpen my mindset, sharpen my skill set, sharpen my work ethic, network. If I do those things, innovate as well. If I don't do those things, it doesn't matter if Mr. Charlie doesn't like my resume. I don't like Mr. Charlie's resume. We have equality in that respect. But anyways, getting back to Powell, what do you guys think about Powell saying low hire, low fire? Okay, what do you guys think about that? Let's see what else we got here. There's a couple other. Let's check out. There's one or two other ones from Powell that his speech yesterday I wanted to share. Let's try this one.
Lots of questions around whether AI is a major factor associated with the relatively low hiring rate for people just graduating from school and just entering the labor market. And people are doing studies on that. We think we can find some evidence that AI, generative AI, is having some. It's one of the reasons here, but we can't really say it's the main reason. Clearly, generative AI has all the earmarks of an emerging technology that could be very important in our economy and in our society. It really is too early to say. I think you can say that some jobs are going to be phased out. Some jobs are going to evolve, and people are going to be further trained and that sort of thing, and be able to keep a job like that. And there'll be new jobs that come. And how will that balance work out, and what will be the timing of it? It's just quite hard to say. Lots of questions around whether AI is a major factor associated with the relatively low hiring rate for people just graduating from school and just entering the labor market. And people are doing studies on that. We think we can find some evidence that AI, generative AI, is having some. It's one of the reasons here, but we can't really say it's the main reason. Clearly, generative AI has all the earmarks of an emerging technology that could be very important in our economy and in our society. It really is too early to say. I think you can say that some jobs are going to be phased out. Some jobs are going to evolve, and people are going to be further trained and that sort of thing, and be able to keep a job like that. And there'll be new jobs that come. And how will that balance work out, and what will be the timing of it? It's just quite hard to say.
Okay. Jerome Powell speaking yesterday. Again, he reiterates the fact, low hiring. Okay, low hiring. Powell speaking yesterday on low hiring. Okay, not so breaking news. Not so breaking news. They're not hiring you. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Let's see what else we got here. I've got one more from Powell. I want to share. Here we go.
The policies that really matter for the U.S. economy in the long run, things like investment, particularly investment in people, that's not something we can do. I think we get a disproportionate amount of attention compared to the things that really matter for the country, which are the things that Congress can do and the private sector can do, which are the things that will really matter for future generations. The policies that really matter for the U.S. economy in the long run, things like investment, particularly investment in people, that's not something we can do. I think we get a disproportionate amount of attention compared to the things that really matter for the country, which are the things that Congress can do and the private sector can do, which are the things that will really matter for future generations. The policies that really matter.
Okay, Powell just mentioned investment in people specifically. Okay, so who are you investing? Who are you investing in? Are you investing in yourself? Are you investing in your network? Are you investing with your family? Who are you investing with? Okay, Powell specifically said investment in people right there is one of the keys to America's future. So who are we investing in? All right, who are we investing in? Okay, so there's a couple YouTube shorts that I want to share from Yahoo Finance right there. Powell did speak yesterday. So Powell's a very powerful person. So we got to keep an eye on what he's saying, especially if you're in the financial markets. All right, so that's what Powell was saying yesterday. What I'm going to do now is share my screen right here, and let's get to some of the other current events in the stock market. Let's see here. I literally just go to Google and search stock market news. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Okay, that's as of 1 hour ago, S&P is little changed. NVIDIA and Oracle struggle. Live updates. Let's see what else we have here. Stock market today, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ slide after Powell flags Feds. Let's check out this article right here from Yahoo Finance. Let's see what Yahoo Finance is saying. All right, let me scroll down here. U.S. stocks fell on Tuesday, pulling back from a record-setting streak as Fed Chair Jerome Powell signaled the central bank would proceed cautiously on further rate cuts and suggested equities were fairly valued. All right, let's pause for the cause on that paragraph. Let's meditate on this paragraph right here. U.S. stocks fell on Tuesday, pulling back from a record-setting streak as Fed Chair Jerome Powell signaled the central bank would proceed cautiously on further rate cuts and suggested equities were fairly highly valued. Okay, so that's what Powell is saying. So according to this first paragraph, 2 more rate cuts the remaining of the year is not guaranteed. The central bank would proceed cautiously on further rate cuts. Okay, so let's see what else this article says. Stocks jumped on Monday to clinch a third straight day of record high closes, lifted by optimism that the AI trade and further Fed policy easing will continue to fuel the rally. The NASDAQ led the gains as NVIDIA stocks surged after the chipmaker said it would invest at least $100 billion in OpenAI. Okay, so let's see what here. Let's see. The NASDAQ led the gains as NVIDIA is the world's largest company, the world's largest publicly traded company, is now doing business with one of the world's leading private companies, OpenAI. But Powell's caution on Tuesday threw cold water on the rally on a couple different fronts. Powell suggested during a speech in Rhode Island that the central bank would move cautiously after resuming rate cuts last week, noting the challenge of balancing its dual mandate at the moment. Near-term risks to inflation are titled to the upside and risks to employment to the downside. A challenging situation. Two-sided risks mean there is no risk-free path. Okay, so some more not-so-breaking news. No risk-free path, okay? Everything in life involves some degree of risk, including doing nothing, okay? Everything involves some level of risk, including doing nothing, okay? Investing in the stock market is risky. Investing in real estate is risky. Options are risky. Waiting on Mr. Charlie to bless us is risky. Waiting on Santa Claus to slide down our chimney is risky. Sitting around complaining and crying about the economy is risky, okay? So which path of risk do you choose? Everything involves some risk, including doing nothing. All right, let's continue. Later, in a question and answer session, he noted that by many measures, for example, equity prices are fairly highly valued. Okay, so Powell thinks the market is fairly highly valued. Powell's comments set the stage for the release on Friday of the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. Okay, so today's Wednesday. 2 days from now, the Fed will release their preferred inflation gauge, the personal consumption expenditure index. Okay, so keep an eye out for this Friday. Wall Street will look for signs that already sticky inflation isn't heating up, which could dent high expectations for 2 more rate reductions this year. Okay, all right, we're savvy investors. We move with foresight. We move with strategy. We just don't blow in the wind. If the Fed does not cut rates 2 more times this year, what's the plan? If the Feds cut the rates only 1 more time later this year, what's the plan? If the Feds do not cut the rates again this year, what's the plan? Do we have a plan? Okay, blaming Donald Trump and blaming the economy is not a plan. Okay, being reactive is not a plan. Okay, blaming racism is not a plan. What's your plan? Do we have a plan? Other data released Tuesday showed that U.S. business activity cooled this month, while a measure of prices paid for materials jumped, indicating price pressures are persisting. Okay, this article mentions Micron. I've got an article I'm going to discuss on Micron. They reported earnings yesterday after hours. On the tech side, the spotlight is on Micron Technologies, MU, quarterly earnings due after the bell. The memory chip makers' results will be watched for updates on AI-driven demand and revenue guidance, with analysts expecting an almost 40% jump in sales. Okay, so that's a little bit about what's Powell saying, what's going on in the market. According to this article, there's no guarantee that the Fed reduces interest rates 2 more times later this year. All right, so that's a little bit about what's going on. Let's go back to the news. Let me see if I can go back here. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's some more other headlines. Let's see what else is going on. Similar headlines from CNBC 4 hours ago. Powell's warning: Micron earnings, financial nil. I can't even read that well. Okay, some more news there from CNBC. Business Insider Daily, stock market today. Dow up after home sales surprise. Oracle, OpenAI rev up. Stargate plan live coverage. Okay, this is from about 53 minutes ago. Barron's from 23 minutes ago says S&P waivers following tech sell-off. All right, that's from earlier today, so 20 minutes ago. CNN, Wall Street got the rate cut it wanted. Can the optimism last? Okay, what's the plan if the optimism doesn't last? Do we have a plan? All right, so those are some headlines from Google. Let's get to, I want to share a couple articles I've got ready to go here. Let's get right to it. Let's get right to this article right here. Just mentioned Micron. Let's see what's going on with Micron. Okay, Micron's Q4 earnings surpasses Wall Street's expectations in the latest test of AI trade. This is from very early this morning, about 4:30 a.m. Eastern this morning. Micron, MU, stock rose early on Wednesday after the chipmaker reported fiscal fourth quarter earnings that surprised Wall Street's expectations. Let's see here. The results after the bell on Tuesday are seen as a positive signal for the AI trade and for investors hoping the chipmaker's stock can sustain its recent upswing. Okay, MU is currently at 159. The stock briefly climbed around 2% in pre-market trading, having risen soon after the report to 171.50, above its all-time intraday high last week. Okay, after earnings was as high as 171.5. Now it's at 159.1. Micron's fiscal fourth quarter revenue of $11.3 billion was ahead of the $11.15 billion expected by analysts. The Idaho-based memory chip maker, whose semiconductors are used alongside NVIDIA's chips in AI data centers, saw adjusted earnings per share of $3.03 for the 3 months ending August 28th. Okay, more than the $2.84 projected. Micron's performance also surpassed its boosted outlook for a quarter provided in August. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so Micron reported earnings yesterday afternoon. Okay, you can read this article on your own on Yahoo Finance. Let's see what else. Let's read this one paragraph. This last paragraph. The combined wave of AI demand from NVIDIA, which accounts for 60% of Micron's revenue. Okay, let's pause for the cause right there. Let's pause for the cause right there. There's a business lesson in this one paragraph, in this one sentence. The combined wave of AI demand from NVIDIA, which accounts for 16% of Micron's revenue on an annualized basis, and Samsung's laggard performance in the space have propelled Micron to new prominence. Okay, so this Yahoo Finance article says NVIDIA makes up 16% of Micron's revenue. All right, is there a business lesson in that sentence? Is there a lesson in that sentence for us? When I read that sentence, I was thinking about a company like Walmart. Back in the day in business school, we used to study Walmart as a case study. And one thing I remember that we talked about was certain small businesses that are in Walmart's supply chain. They do so much business with Walmart that if Walmart decided to cut them off one day, they would starve the next day. Okay, so when I read this 16%, I was thinking about, I'm not sure if that's a high percentage, relatively speaking, or if that's a low percentage, relatively speaking. But as soon as I saw that one number there, I always thought back to business school. I always thought back to, we don't want one company or one supplier we don't want to be so dependent on one person or one stream of revenue, right? In case they start acting brand new, in case they start acting funny, we still want to eat. We still want to be able to generate revenue if they decide to stop doing business with us. All right, let's see what else Micron says. Okay, so you can read the rest of this article on Yahoo Finance. Okay, Micron. Speaking of Micron, let's go straight to this week's earnings. I want to go straight to this week's earnings. Let me share my screen from X and let's talk about which companies are reporting earnings this week. All right. Okay. So here's companies reporting earnings this week. Nothing too big. No real big company this week. Micron's probably the biggest name on this list yesterday after close. Who else do we have? Costco, Thursday after close. So it's a light week in terms of earnings. Light week. AutoZone, Tuesday morning. Probably Micron or Costco is probably the biggest name on that list. Okay, so if you're a shareholder in any of these companies, if you're a shareholder in Micron, you probably know Micron shot up a little bit. If you're an owner in Costco, tomorrow after close, keep an eye out. BlackBerry and Accenture tomorrow morning. Okay, so this is a quick summary on companies that report this week. Do you guys own any shares of these companies? Okay, so Micron and Costco, probably the biggest names on this list. Okay, so that's earnings this week. That is earnings this week. All right. Let's see what else we have on the list today. All right. Here's an article I found on. This is also from Yahoo Finance, but it's really a Reuters article. This is from yesterday afternoon. Let's see. This article involves Boeing and Palantir. Okay, so if you're a shareholder in Boeing or Palantir, you might want to pay attention to this article. Again, this is from Reuters. Boeing's defense and space unit partners with Palantir for AI adoption. Speaking of Boeing, before we get into the article, I remember visiting a Boeing warehouse back in the day. This was maybe 2011, 2012. I remember we were in this was when I was in grad school. We took a trip to one of Boeing's warehouses, and when you talk about weapons of mass destruction, okay, I saw weapons of mass destruction with my own eyes. Okay, I'll never forget that. Boeing's warehouse was making all kinds of things I couldn't believe. So every time I see the word Boeing, every time that company is mentioned, my memory is jogged about 13 years ago, 14 years ago. To that time, I visited that Boeing warehouse. Okay, Boeing had weapons of mass destruction for real. All right, let's get into the article. Routers. Boeing has partnered with Palantir Technologies to use the software firm's AI solutions platform across the plane makers, defense, and space unit, the company said on Tuesday. Okay, Palantir is partnering with Boeing. The tie-up will help Boeing standardize data analytics across its production lines. Boeing has also tapped Palantir to supply AI tools for several classified projects aimed at supporting sensitive military missions. Okay, Palantir currently at 178. What is Boeing? What price is Boeing right now? Someone let us know. Okay, there. Well, it says it's down there. What price is Boeing? Palantir is currently at 178. Anyone know what Boeing is currently at? The Boeing unit, called Boeing Defensive Systems, operates production lines for military aircraft, helicopters, satellites, spacecraft, missiles, and weapons. Okay? Boeing unit, called Boeing Defense Systems, operates production lines for military aircraft, helicopters, satellites, spacecraft, missiles, and weapons. Okay? Boeing's not playing no games. Palantir, co-funded by investor Peter Thiel in 2003, announced a partnership in June for the development of an AI-powered software system for nuclear reactor construction. Shares of Palantir rose on the news and ended the session nearly 2% higher. Okay, so Palantir is doing business with Boeing. Okay, Palantir is now in bed with Boeing. Okay, so that's an article from Yahoo Finance from yesterday. Okay. All right. So I wanted to mention that article for any Boeing shareholder, for any Palantir shareholder. What do you guys think about that? Okay, Boeing is 215. Okay, thanks, Jen. Boeing 215.53. Okay. Palantir at, let me check my chart here. Palantir currently at 178.66. Boeing at 215.53. Andrea says, Boeing has the Apache helicopter sold all over the world. They are shady and fraudulent, though. Watch the downfall, the fall of Boeing. Okay. Yeah, I have some serious memories of Boeing. Firsthand experience I saw with my own eyes what they were doing in just one of their warehouses back in the day. Palantir 178.45. Okay. Andrea says the case of Boeing against Boeing. The case against Boeing. Okay. All right. So bottom line, Palantir is now doing business with Boeing. Okay. I've got another article here on Google. I saw this interesting article on Google yesterday. I'm going to share it, but before I get into that, let me just mention in terms of scheduling. Let's talk some scheduling right quick. Let me pull up my calendar. Okay, today's Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. In terms of tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, book club. For those of you in the book club, I believe it's free on YouTube. That's tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's talk what else we have going on in the Black Business School. On October 11th. Okay, make a note. Those of you interested, October 11th and October 12th. That's a Saturday and Sunday. That's in two Saturdays from now. And in about 2.5 weeks from now, I'm going to have a 2-day training. Okay. I plan on having a 2-day options training on October 11th and 12th. So if you're into options, mark October 11th and October 12th on your calendars. I plan on having a 2-day option training on those days. Okay. So that's something else that we have coming up in the Black Business School. Let's see what else. Yeah. Okay. So that's in terms of my trainings, October 11th to 12th, 2-day option training. Those of you that are interested in meeting with me, I want to share my screen right here. This is probably my most popular offering in the Black Business School. I'm going to show you right quick. I can show you better than I can tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Those of you that have an account with the Black Business School, you can log into the Black Business School. You see all the different course offerings here. Right there in the middle is Prime, a very popular class in the Black Business School. Those of you that are interested in meeting with me, my most popular offering are probably these ones right here. Bulk consultations. Okay, many of you already meet with me for options, to discuss your option positions, discuss option theory, discuss plays, review some of the metrics involved, review some of the theory involved, review some of the psychology involved. This is probably my most popular offering through the Black Business School. Okay, 4 hours for 1,000, 8 hours for 1,800, and 10 hours for 2,000. Okay, but I do give way more value in return than these expenses. Okay, if we were in a rush to go give these universities hundreds of thousands and got no value in return, then we should be in double a rush for the freedom of education. Okay, there is a cost, but I promise to give you more value in return, especially regarding options or any of your business ventures. You want a second opinion, consider the bulk consultation package with me. All right, so that's what I've got going on. Let's get back to the. There's a Google article I wanted to share. I wanted to talk about Google. I saw this article on CNN Business yesterday. This reminds me of the situation I was in. Let me share the screen here. Share screen. Okay, Google says 90% of its tech workers are now using AI at work. Okay, there we go. Google says 90% of tech workers are now using AI at work. Okay, let's pause right there. Before I left the day job, I was using AI every day, and I wasn't in tech. Okay, I was using AI on my day job every day. The end of last year, maybe the end of the last year summer, towards the end of last year. Actually, let me think about that. From about last summer to this January, I was using AI on my day job every day. Okay, and I wasn't in tech. Okay, this article from CNN Business says Google says 90% of tech workers are now using AI at work. Okay, so let's pause for the cause right there. I'm going to pull up the chat. Do you use AI on your day job? Yes or no in the chat. Do you use AI on your day job? Yes or no in the chat. Let me see if I can I pull up a poll here? If I can learn how to use StreamYard properly, I would try to pull up a poll. But those of us that work a day job, do you use AI on the day job? Yes or no? Drop a yes or no in the chat. Do you use AI at work? Yes or no? Andrea says no. Anyone else? Do you use AI on the day job? No. A couple no's so far. No. Anyone? Does anyone use AI on their day job? Does anyone use AI at work? Nobody so far uses AI? Okay. Personal life? Okay. Nobody. No. So far, nobody uses AI at work. That was a little bit surprising to me. Okay. I used AI almost every day. Every day, I think. I would use AI to look up how to do things. Like if I was using software, for example, that I didn't know how to do something, I would ask the AI how I did that. I would do research. I would use the AI for research purposes. Look up this, look up that. What else would I use? I remember using the day job for is mostly for research purposes, but also how to do things. Okay, mostly people are using it for in their personal life or recreational. Okay, let's get into the article. Okay, Google, maybe top 5 company in the world, top 6 company in the world. They're saying they're 90% of their staff. Okay, let's see what it says. The overwhelming majority of tech industry workers use AI on the job for tasks like writing and modifying code. Okay, like writing. Okay, like writing and modifying code. A new Google study has found. The report, coming from Google's DORA research division and based on 5,000 responses from tech professionals around the world, found that 90% of respondents are using AI in their job, up 14% from last year. Okay, so let's meditate right there. Let's meditate on those 2 paragraphs. Let's think about that. All right, so Google says more and more people are using AI. What do you think about that? Do you think that trend will continue? Do you think that trend will stop? Will it slow down? What do you think? The findings come as the rise of AI has prompted a mix of concern, hype, and promise around how the technology could impact jobs and the economy. The findings come as the rise of AI has prompted a mix of concern, hype, and promise around how the technology could impact jobs and the economy. Anthropic's CEO made headlines in May when he said that AI could lead to a spike in unemployment, a sentiment that other tech industry professionals have since tamped down. But some data does suggest it's getting harder for entry-level workers to find jobs. Okay? In software engineering, a trend that comes amid a wave of layoffs in the tech industry. Google is one of many companies looking to capitalize on the shift to AI-assisted software development. It offers tools that range from free to a $45 per month for helping with code generation and deploying agents that can handle software development tasks. And the company faced widespread competition, not just from rivals like Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic, but also AI coding startups such as Replit and Anosphere, which are seeing their valuations soar as tech companies increasingly adopt AI. If you're an engineer at Google, it is unavoidable that you will be using AI as part of your daily work. All right, so let's see if there's anything else here. A recent computer science graduates who spoke with CNN earlier this year were generally optimistic about future career prospects, but acknowledged that AI is changing the nature of the job. One recent graduate said he applied to more than only 150. Oh, okay, he's lucky. One recent graduate, Julio Rodriguez, said he applied to more than 150 jobs before landing a role. Oh, Mr. Rodriguez is one of the lucky ones. Okay. He said he applied to 150 jobs before landing a role. Okay. What somebody do this quick math for me. What's 1 divided by 150? What percentage is 1 divided by 150? Someone drop that percentage in the chat. Okay, Mr. Julio Rodriguez is a recent computer science graduate. He applied to 150 jobs and he got one. Okay, 1 divided by 150 is okay. Let me see if I'm doing this correctly. 1 divided by 150 is 0.66%. Okay, so 0.66% of the time that Mr. Julio Rodriguez applied for a job, he got one, and that's supposed to be considered lucky. Okay. 1 out of 150 times he applied for a job, he got it. And that's on the high end. That's considered on the high end. I don't know if you remember earlier this year, we had a training where I looked up the average number of applicants for an open position. Do you guys remember what number that was? Or maybe we should go to the AI and ask the AI right now. For every open position, how many applicants there are? Any guesses as to how many applicants there are for the average open position? Right? Yeah, there you go. 0.006. Okay, that's supposed to be considered lucky. I don't like those odds. Okay, those odds are not good for me. Okay, maybe you consider that percentage of those odds favorable for you. I don't consider those odds favorable for me. Okay, I remember asking the AI how many applicants there are for the average open position. I remember it saying 250. Okay, so for every time, on average, for every time you apply for an open position, there's 249 other applicants. Okay, maybe you consider those odds favorable. I don't consider those odds favorable. Okay, what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? Okay, he's one of the lucky ones. Mr. Julio Rodriguez is one of the lucky ones. 1 in 150 is supposed to be considered lucky. Okay, although those are supposed to be favorable odds for me and you. 1 in 150. Okay, that's ass backwards in my opinion. All right, let's get back to the article. While AI adoption is advancing fast, Salva is in the camp of those who believe that there are critical parts of software development that cannot be automated, and that AI will streamline the parts that workers find mundane. Okay, this is kind of funny to me because I find all of work mundane. Okay, but he acknowledges that at least some of the uptick in adopting AI has probably come from the buzz surrounding the technology. Okay, so this is a very interesting article from Google. Google says 90% of tech workers are now using AI at work. Okay, now I'm sure this number is lower for other industries, but it made me think about when I was on the day job and I used AI every day. Now I wasn't even in tech. Okay, so interesting article from CNN Business right there. All right, let's go to CNN Business. Check some headlines here. Let's see what's going on with CNN Business. All right, let's see what's any headlines here that are interesting. Disney Plus gets a price hike at the most awkward possible time. I've never invested in Disney. I just feel there are way better investments besides Disney. That's just me. Though. This one says inflation could be a third lower without tariffs. Financial decision makers say. Okay, you are a financial decision maker. Okay, I'm a financial decision maker. You are a financial decision maker. Okay, you are a chief executive officer. Okay, you're a CEO of your life. You're a CEO of your business. You're a CEO of your outcomes. Okay, you are a chief executive officer. What else do we have here? Let's see here. Okay, there's an article we just talked about. Google says 90% of tech workers are now using AI. I saw this article, I think it was Monday. All Amazon Fresh grocery stores due to close in the UK. TikTok won't be banished. Its fate could be much worse. Goodbye to the 7,500 EV tax credit. What's that mean for EV prices? Okay, so some of the headlines here on CNN Business. Okay, all right, so that's CNN Business. Let's go to actually let me pull it up while you have CNN Business up there. I want to pull up let me search that and let's see what's going on with Bloomberg. Let's check let me see if Bloomberg has any interesting headlines for us. I see one from Fortune. All right. Okay. Let's skip that for the time being. All right. So let's check Yahoo Finance right quick. Let's see what's going on with Yahoo Finance. Share screen. Yahoo Finance. All right, let me refresh. Okay, what is that one? Alibaba stock soars on expected AI spend. Nvidia packed. Okay, Nvidia's out here making deals left and right. OpenAI, Alibaba. Nvidia is still getting plenty of love. Zuckerberg says Instagram has grown to 3 billion monthly service users. Let's check out this article from 39 minutes ago. Okay, Meta, one of the biggest companies in the world. Let's see what's going on with Zuckerberg. Okay, you saw Zuckerberg right there next to Trump multiple times recently. Routers, Meta Platforms. Meta Platforms' Instagram has grown to 3 billion monthly active users. Okay, let's just pause right there. On that first half sentence. What's the population of the Earth? What's the population of Earth right now? How many people on Earth right now? Is it 8 billion people on Earth? I think it's about 8 billion people on Earth. Okay, so three out of eight people are on Instagram. What's 3 divided by 8? 37.5%? 37.5% of the world's population is on Instagram. Okay, if my math is correct, 3 divided by 8 is 37.5. 37.5% of the people on Earth are on Instagram. 8.1. Okay, 8.1, Andrea. 8.1. What's somebody do 3 divided by 8.1? What percentage is that? 3 divided by 8.1. About like 35%, 36%, something like that. About 35 or 36% of the world's population is on Instagram. Okay, if my math is correct. All right, let's see what's going on with this. Meta last discovered Instagram's user figures disclosed. I can't read. Sorry. Meta last disclosed Instagram's user figures in 2022 when Zuckerberg said the app had hit more than 2 billion monthly. Okay, so 3 years ago, it was at 2 billion. Present day, it's at 3 billion. Imagine that. Imagine you get 1 billion users in 3 years. Okay, you're doing something right. That's a clear sign you're doing something right. Meta, previously known as Facebook, bought Instagram for 1 billion in 2012, a move that has raised questions about the company's strategy as the social media app had begun with just photo sharing without significant revenue. Okay, Meta is currently at 754. I remember about 3 years ago, it was like at 100 and something. Since then, the app has grown astronomically. And some firms have estimated it will make up more than half of Meta's US ad revenue this year. A major factor contributing to Instagram's success is the Reels feature, which launched in 2020 and allows users to create short-form content, a market that faces fierce competition from rivals such as TikTok and Google-owned YouTube Shorts. Okay, is there a business lesson in here? Is there a business lesson right there in that paragraph for us? Let me highlight it. Is there a business lesson in this paragraph for us? Is there somebody dropped the business lesson in the chat from this paragraph? %. Thank you, Andrea. 37% of the world's population is on Instagram. A major factor contributing to Instagram's success is the Reels feature, which launched in 2020 and allows users to create short-form content, a market that faces fierce competition from rivals such as TikTok and Google-owned YouTube Shorts. Okay, what's the business lesson in that paragraph? There you go. This is exactly what I was thinking. Copying competitors wins with short form. If you see your competitors are doing something that's working, copy it. If you're doing something that is working, your competitors are going to copy you. Okay? Facebook copied what TikTok was doing, and copied what YouTube was doing. Why? Because it was working. Okay? There's the lesson for us. Thank you, Andrea. Copy competitors, especially if what they're doing is working. Okay? There's a business lesson for us. Let's see. TikTok, owned by Chinese tech behemoth ByteDance, has more than 1 billion users globally who visit monthly, a company spokesperson said. Okay. All right. That's an interesting article from Yahoo Finance on Zuckerberg and Instagram. Okay, so that was one of the current headlines from Yahoo Finance. What else do we have here? Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, Boeing's making more news. As of 13 minutes ago, Boeing to replace FA-18 service life modification work out of St. Louis. Okay, Boeing's not just sitting around with their feet kicked up. They are making moves. They're innovating. They're partnering with other companies. Oracle is reportedly looking to raise $15 billion in corporate bonds. Bond sale. What else do we have? Okay, like we talked about at the beginning, Fed Chair Powell suggests AI may be impacting the low hiring rate. Okay, we talked about HR not liking you like that. HR doesn't like your resume. Why would they like your resume when they've got 249 other resumes to choose from? Okay, when you're on AI, next time you're on your favorite AI model, next time you're on Gemini, next time you're on Claude, next time you're on Grok, next time you're on ChatGPT, ask the AI, how many job applications does the open position receive? See what they say. Okay, why would HR pick your resume when there's 249 other resumes to choose from? Okay, why would Mr. Charlie pick your resume when he can pick his best friend's resume? All right, Jen said, a lesson to get better. A lesson better get better with IG Shorts. Me too. I gotta take that lesson too. That's YouTube Shorts, IG Shorts, all that. All right. Okay. Let me check my notes here. Okay, we talked about Palantir and Boeing. We talked about Google. Talked about Micron. Let's see here. Talked about scheduling. Let's take a look. Let me take a look before we wrap. Let's take a look at the live market. Live look at the market. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Share screen. Let's see what's going on in the market before we wrap. Okay, BTC 113,733. Amazon has pulled back recently at 220. Apple has been doing well, 251, down $3 today for 251. NASDAQ, I think the NASDAQ was above 600, wasn't it? Was the triple Q above 600 recently? Let's check. Yeah, it was right there. What day was this? Back on Monday, it was over about 602, 601, 602, something like that. What else do we have here? Okay, some of you follow Oklo or shareholders in Oklo. Oklo shot up a lot recently. Currently at 138. What else do we have? Tesla's been doing well recently. Currently at 438. Okay, it's at 438. But back on Friday, August 1st, it was at 301. Okay, it was at 301. About 7 weeks ago, it was at 302. My bad, 301, 302. Now currently at 438. Okay, so 2 months, your investment, if you had bought down here, your investment has done very well in the last 2 months. If you're a Tesla, if you bought Tesla back in the beginning of August. TSM, let's check TSM. Currently 278. Okay, back on September 2nd, 225. Okay. Back on September 2nd, we're complaining about racism. We're complaining about Donald Trump. We're complaining about HR. We're complaining about the economy. Okay, TSM was 225 at the time, currently at 278. Okay. What else do we have? Meta. We just talked about Meta. Currently at 753. Back on end of July, beginning of August. Thursday, 31st of July, it was 691. Currently at 753, even after a slight pullback. Okay, it was at 788 back roughly a week ago. Okay, there's a lot of psychology involved in investing. Okay, if we can master the psychology, for me, mastering the psychology of investing was the hardest part. Okay, all of us can do basic math. All of us can press a few buttons on the phone or laptop. The hardest part is mastering the investor's psychology. Master the investor psychology. Okay, so that's Meta. What else we got? Nvidia, currently 176. Earlier this week, after that news broke about Nvidia and AI doing business, I think it was up about 183, 184, pulled back to 176, currently at 176. Okay, so that's Nvidia. Microsoft 507. Let's see here. After earnings back on end of July, it shot up to the 550s. Okay, pulled back to 507. Okay, currently 507. Okay, what do you guys think about that? Okay, what do you guys think about that? There's only really one color America really cares about. Okay, you know what color that is. What's the one color America cares about? Drop it in the chat. What's the one color America cares about? Drop it in the chat. There you go. There you go. Enough said. Enough said. That's the color America cares about most right there. Okay, that's the color America cares about most right there. And that's green. Okay. The stage. Okay, there we go. Green. Okay. Green is what really matters in America. Okay. Let me check my notes one more time. Live looks. Before we wrap, let me check one more. Let me check. I wanted to check Bloomberg, but I didn't see any interesting articles on Bloomberg. Let me check Forbes right quick. Okay, let me share the screen right here. Share screen. I literally just went to Google and searched Forbes. You might have seen this yesterday or Monday. Gold is at an all-time high. Let me make my screen bigger. Okay, gold is all-time high right there at the top. What else? The startup has hit a 3.25 billion valuation. Okay. What else do we have? Okay, so there's some couple articles right there on the top from Forbes. Let's check Wall Street Journal right quick. Wall Street Journal. Let's see what's going on with the Wall Street Journal right quick. Wall Street Journal fires back at Trump over Epstein. Okay. All right, that's Wall Street Journal. Let's check Business Insider right quick. Business Insider. Salesforce. I felt my role as a Salesforce consultant was at risk because of AI. After training myself to become an expert, I feel much more secure in my job. Okay, good for him. Klarna chairman sent a stark post-IPO message to CEO. We're 10 years behind. Okay, a couple of headlines from Business Insider. All right. So that's what's going on with some of the financial resources that I follow. Okay. Okay. About 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll meet again next Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern. We usually discuss current events in the financial markets. We talk about a few articles. Today we talked about Oracle. Today we talked about Palantir, Boeing, Google. We talked about who else? We talked about Micron. We talked about what Jerome Powell had said yesterday. We took a look at some CNN and Yahoo Finance articles. So until next week, Wednesday, keep doing your thing. Stay disciplined. Stay patient. The market rewards those who are disciplined and patient. Keep building out your wealth. And I'll check you again next Wednesday. Peace.